People forget, I used to work in the oil patch in West Texas, and we just can't do it anymore. This idea that whatever the oil and gas industry tells people in the administration is true is probably wrong. And so just don't vote for them anymore, and when you get a chance, let's get them out of office.
Well, that was Bill New Year's Eve. What's that? I'm being told it's pronounced Nye. That was Bill Nye, the science guy. His last name is Nye. I got confused. Leading by example and fighting back against the anti-science, anti-reality Republican Party of the modern day. The people in power, who are the Republicans at this moment in time, seem to be super against following scientific findings. I wonder why a group of people would want people to not critically think. I wonder what a good reason for that would be.
People say to me, Bill Nye, science guy, what can I do about climate change? What can I do about climate change? Well, tell you what, people's vote. Right now, we hear so much about the undecided voters. And this is, I'm being as
diplomatic, generous,
magnanimous. How can you not tell the difference, people? One side is in support of doing something about these massive problems associated with climate change. The other side is pretending it's not happening. And you guys, we all want a villain and so on, but it really has been the fossil fuel industry that's worked really hard to suppress the science. I'm doing my best here. For many years, I've been the head of a organization that we work very hard to be political but not partisan in space exploration. Be that as it may, right now the choice is clear.
And New Year's Eve has been sounding the alarm, even back before the election. He was trying to get people to not vote for Trump and Vance, and even though his attempts to smack some sense into the American public before the 2024 election did fall flat, maybe it's on account of the bow tie, he's nowhere close to giving up on his pursuit to improve education and awareness surrounding not only the climate crisis, but the full-blown assault on science in general that the Trump administration is currently waging on the American public. Again, I wonder why they wouldn't want people thinking critically when they're doing a bunch of stuff that tramples on our rights and kind of turns each other against each other. It would be helpful to be able to convince people of stuff without it making rational sense. That be a reason? Nah, probably not.
The White House plan would slash NASA's science funding by nearly half, a level that scientists warn could have tremendous consequences for space exploration, but also for U.S. economic growth and national security. Much of the agency's work is already halted, with the shutdown keeping some 15,000 NASA employees home and furloughed tonight.
It just seems, generally speaking, it's kind of a good idea to, value science and not devalue it as kind of a subject or a worthy pursuit that we probably should be, funding and protecting at all costs on account of it's how we have a grasp on reality and kind of keep with the times and keep up with the evolving nature of discoveries in the world that don't get stuck in old thinking that gets disproven as science evolves and, as we compete against other nations who will be evolving their technologies and technologies based in science and all that kind of stuff. Plus there's also the future implications of promoting medical misinformation and false narratives surrounding scientific research, especially if the funding comes from the federal government, then they can just say, don't believe science at all, and then cut that federal funding. Could be a problem. I'm just kind of spitballing here on account of this being obvious facts that I'm saying.
You don't want to cut NASA funding, and you don't want to cut NASA space in half. It will just end these programs, and this will lose our international competitiveness. And if we stop looking up and out, what does that say about us? It's not good. Whatever it is, it's not good. And it's certainly not consistent with how the United States has gotten this far. Whose idea was this, to cut NASA science in half? It is a sliver. It is barely noticeable piece of the the budget pie. It's really a remarkable idea. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 8. Congress is to promote the progress of science and useful arts. 1787, the founders put the word science in the U.S. Constitution. It is a remarkable thing. They realize the value for international competitiveness, our health and welfare.
But the Republican Party's got a different take. They're against intellectualism. They're anti-intellectualism. They didn't go the Sheryl Crow every day is a winding road route where they got high on intellectualism. They get high on being against anything smart.
How would you say
this administration writ large approach to science is different the second time around than the first time around?
They're rejecting it in a way that is really almost hard to believe. Where to begin?
There's clearly a hostility within this administration to green energy, renewables, and the things that the president says are more expensive, less effective, and wasteful.
Be that as his belief may be, there's more to it than just the kilowatt hour per kilowatt hour. There's more to it than just the price of every joule of horsepower hour of energy. It's climate's changing. We have to stop producing fossil fuels. And so stop burning fossil fuels, I mean. I say all the time, there is no business case for studying dark energy, which seems to be affecting the motions of our galaxy. Nobody's getting rich exploring for extraterrestrial life on other worlds. That's not where you make your money, people. Right. And so these discoveries that we make in the cosmos change the world in the best way. And it is a very reasonable use of our intellect and treasure. Commercial companies may provide transportation to orbit, and they may provide some major spacecraft components, but when it comes to exploration, there is no private option. There is no business case for the search for extraterrestrial life. There is no profit to be made studying Saturn's mysterious polar storm. No one is cashing in on whatever dark matter does to influence the motions of our galaxies and other galaxies in the cosmos. Yet NASA science is a bargain. For every dollar spent, at least 3 come back into the economy. Last year, NASA's investment in science generated more than $20 billion of economic growth and supported over 80,000 jobs in all 50 states.
And just a little tip, if people make sense to your intellect, it's totally great to follow what they say. If they want you to not use your brain and just kind of go on raw emotion when they stir it up and kind of poke at you, maybe it's something to consider, because the Trump administration does seem to be kind of in the middle of a wholesale devaluing of government-funded academic pursuits. They're openly posturing against academia. And something that, just as something to note, that authoritarian governments do tend to do is specifically that, because when people use their brains, they kind of rebel against their rights being taken away and the government kind of turning people against each other. And so you could relate, if you really wanted to, this right-wing attack on public schools through charter and private schools and bringing Christianity and the Bible teachings into public classrooms, which is sort of against the separation of church and state and all that. You could kind of tie those together on account of them being very related because they're the same thing pretty much. Smearing teachers' unions and trying to get people to not fight for their rights, to not stand up for better conditions, to not stand up for advancing our society, but kind of taking us backwards into a time when the government, or even maybe a different country, where the government kind of just tells us what's up and what's best for them and their rich buddies, and we just kind of go along with it because we're too dumb to really follow it. I mean, that's one way to go, too. Being dumb's cool. You could always do that as well. But the choice is yours. You got both options. I'm just here to tell you the options. Science or not, intellectualism or dumb hood, whichever one you want. Just choose wisely. I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I drink tequila. What? I'm confused myself. I'm Ben Gleib for Rebel HQ. You can follow me at Ben Gleib on Instagram for a lot more.